Welcome back to the Schmitter's 100-acre woods. Today we're going to be kind of looking at some of the equipment we use. You can see it behind me. So this is 3/4 of the kind of Kubota army we have going. I'll explain which one's missing and kind of go through what we have product wise and kind of any modifications we've done to it. So join me. Start with what should be the smallest one. So the one that's missing is the zero-turn mower. It's a Z421, has a 60-inch deck. Kubota RTV 1120. So this is the work site model. Basically what that means, it comes with the spray in bed. It has the hydraulic dump from the factory, and this is diesel. So initially got it, it's a 2018 model. We bought it in 2020. So with the 100 acres, found that to really get around too much, really needed a machine that could haul some things, but then also kind of be a workhorse. So kind of starting at the front here. So we initially designed, so after just a couple months of having it, we designed this front rack to hold, as you can see, chainsaws, borrow oil, and gas. So the kind of the reason for that is if we're hauling wood or have the back full, we need someplace to put the chainsaws and not clog up that space. So we designed this, just some tubing and a piece of 2-inch square. It just goes into the hitch receiver down here, and then it pins against a piece of angle iron that's here. There's a couple pins in it, and then this angle iron is just bolted on to the main tube here, and kind of just put some pieces of rubber in there to help it from wanting to slide. So this is a really nice addition that we added on, and it's nice being able to put 2 or 3 chainsaws up here. You always have to have a couple whenever you go into the woods, so that way if you get one stuck, or if you have multiple people going, then you can have that have those out of the way. And for visibility wise, I'm 6 foot, so seeing over them is not a big deal. It's a very handy addition. The next thing that's probably the most noticeable, which is the newest addition, is this plexiglass windshield we got. So actually got that for Christmas this year. It really helps keep the wind off of you. We got the one that has quick remove kind of screws here. So the idea, if we need to remove it while trailering, since we're hauling it back and forth between the 6 acres here and the 100-acre woods, that we're able to do that. While we're up at the front here, also have this light bar across the top. The main headlights that are on it do okay, but that light bar really helps illuminate, and right now in the winter it gets dark super early, so it's nice having that extra light. Coming around to the side, see you have some side mirrors on here, as well as a rear view mirror up top. You can see there's no roof. I think the plan eventually is to buy some diamond plating and just kind of bend it ourselves and make a roof for it. There's some bolts up there we can utilize to pin it all down. That's something that I'll probably do a video on in the future. And then come around to the back, we've got some lights back here. So you can see there's 4 LEDs that point back and 3 along the side that point to the side. This really helps kind of illuminate to the side of you while you're backing up. And then we did this extension here, so without it the bed stops down here, and this is really nice when hauling wood and stuff, just so nothing can come at you. But then there's this big gap between here and down here where dirt and debris could get in between, so we put this on there, and it's been well used. We do haul dirt in here, so the machine I'll show next, the bucket's perfect to fit in between here, so you can put about 2 to 3 scoops, depending on wet the dirt is, right in the back, and then spread it around. and with the hydraulic dump it has no issue dumping that. Mom wanted to put her little twist on the machine here, so that's what the otters are. And as most people know, the green version of these have a similar name, and so anytime you hear me say the otter, that would be this machine here. That's kind of what we've gone to nicknaming it. And then lastly, just a simple tow hook kind of here at the back. Nice big hook you can hook a cable on, and then if you're pulling a chain, you have that here. Okay, up next is the tractor that's kind of already been previewed on the channel here. So this is the Kubota 2150. It's like a 1989 model. Dad bought this when he bought the 6 acres here, and it has close to 3,000 hours on it, so it's been well used and abused. Just rebuilt the cylinders on it. Haven't had to do too much to the engine. I think the only thing kind of note is this had a dynamo on it from the factory, so we were able to add a alternator to it. So it's just run off of the main drive there, the alternator, and then we had to make up some brackets and different things to get that to work. I think that's the main thing we've kind of changed on this machine. It is a diesel. One of the things you'll notice here, we've added kind of some work lights on it as well. As you may have noticed, the front lights are busted on it, and with those older style lights, they just don't provide as much light, so we made some brackets up and mounted LEDs. It is a hydrostat transmission. It was one of the biggest tractors at the time you could get with a hydrostat, and that was kind of appealing at the time to be able to utilize that. And then the implement that's currently on it most of the time is this yard box. Lights, so we have just the one pointing back, the two looking forward, and right now we just have them wired up to a couple of alligator clips that you can clip on the battery down here. Eventually we'll get a switch put on, just not 100% sure kind of where we want to put the switch at, and for the property in a lot of spots, definitely creating trails initially and doing things like that. Having the smaller tractor to turn around and maneuver is a big benefit, and having the yard box to get things leveled back off is definitely a beneficial thing. Right after we bought the property, which would be in 2017, I believe, it's a 62 horsepower diesel engine. It's got a lot of the bells and whistles on it, as far as kind of the accessories you can get. So right now I have the pallet forks on it because right now it's tote season, getting firewood moved around, splitting firewood, so I have the forks on it most of the time right now to do firewood, and using those IBC totes is definitely the way to go to stack firewood and be able to move it around and not have to do it by hand. But for the front, we also have just the normal 84-inch bucket, I believe, and then we have a set or a grapple for it that got from K&N down in Alabama. Ordered that, and it's been a very helpful item. Kind of mentioning the grapple, we have the front remotes on here, so that's controlled by the joystick for the loader controls. There's a thumb switch there to actuate that. Coming across, it only has about 600 hours on it. It doesn't make it over to the property, the 100 acres, quite as much, just because it's a lot more for, you know, taking out trees, moving big piles of dirt, and like I said before, the little tractor is a lot better at maneuvering. But this one, if you need to take a tree out, there's not much that beats it. But with the backhoe on here, it's the 14-foot model. It does have the thumb on it, which is very helpful when working with firewood, being able to pick up a full log and either cut right off of it, or being able to pick logs up and set them on the splitter on the really big ones. This one didn't have a second auxiliary on it, but we added one here. So bought this valve and basically what it does is it switches from this circuit for the thumb to this auxiliary circuit, and we have one of those on each side here. The main reason we added this was about a year ago we created a tilting, I guess you call it a grading bucket for it. So it's kind of a ditching bucket, grading bucket, and basically it will tilt back and forth, and it's been very helpful for cleaning up like along ditches. So if you dig out dirt, you can then use that as a grader. It's 3 feet wide, and having the tilting function is really helpful to be able to match the grade. So if you're sitting at an angle, a lot of times you can utilize the outriggers to kind of get things leveled up, but with this you are able to just tilt the bucket. And then the tilt works via the same way, since we're using the same circuit, via the foot pedal that you use for the thumb. So this does have the 3 remotes in the back. Eventually, hopefully get a multi-directional blade for the back of this. The nice thing, or one of the reasons we went with the M62, is it still has the functionality of a 3-point hitch. So underneath the cover there is a PTO. So we've used this to we have a bush hog for it, so we can bush hog with it, and then there are pieces in the shed that you can bolt on that then have the 3-point hitch capability. It kind of has the best of both worlds. The backhoe lives on here most of the time, but you have the option to switch it. It'd be nice to utilize these remotes by having a blade and be able to angle it with the levers that are up here. Like the other machines, we've put some LED lights up top. Have those front and back. Just have them wired into the switch that's up on the control. Kind of do an example of sitting in each machine here. All the views that you'll see on the channel will be kind of from either here, mounting on this post, or kind of looking just at the front, like if I'm wearing it on my head. Here's kind of the platform here. And if people are interested, I can do kind of a more in-depth video. I know there's some out there on YouTube as far as kind of what all the controls do, but in the future I may do kind of a more in-depth on the HDS Plus and some of the other features that are on this machine. So hopped over to the B2150. A lot of times on this one, a lot of the shots are actually going to be from above. It'll be up here. It'll be utilizing the headache bar there and using a clamp to kind of show that perspective. It's kind of the best spot to get it out of the way so it's above everything, and kind of see what all is being worked on. Okay, and lastly I've hopped over to the RTV 1120. Kind of look at the platform here. Again, there's a handful of videos on YouTube about what all it does and how it works. I guess the only thing that's really different is we utilized a couple of switches here. So this is for the front lights, the light bar that I was talking about, and then the rear lights that we have on the back. We have those mounted kind of in the auxiliary spots that you would sometimes get, and we just bought some switches from O'Reilly to be able to put in there. Kind of view out the front, like I was talking about. You have the chainsaws that kind of obscure the view. A lot of times have the bigger one over the gas and everything up, and then you'll have just like the little chainsaw here, so it's really not too bad. I hope this video kind of gives you a better sense of some of the equipment we'll be using on the channel, and kind of, you know, modifications we've done to it. And like I said, so we have the RTV, typically call it the Otter. Have the B2150, which is the small tractor, and then the 62, either called the M62 or the big tractor. You know, as you follow along on the channel, hopefully it kind of gives you a better idea of what we're using, modifications we've done to each one of them. So one of the next videos I'll do, kind of in a similar ilk, is kind of look at some of the chainsaws and the smaller things that we use. So maybe chainsaws, hand tools that we've kind of start taking with us to the 100-acre woods and kind of their function is. I'll do a video of that coming up, so you can kind of look for that. If there's any specific thing on either the tractors or this that you want me to go into more detail on, just leave a comment. I'd love to do a deeper dive into each one of them if that's something that people would find of value. I can work on doing that video as well as weather and everything permit. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.